Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Look here. Everything has come off smooth without a hitch, you know what I mean? They got the phone. They got the phone tapped. And he's starting to make phone calls. They're starting to build the case. They're starting to get information that they could have never gotten unless they got one of his lieutenants to flip on him. But now they're getting direct conversations between him, his plug, him, his lieutenants at the other prisons, and they're getting all of these things charted and written out before they make their move. Because it's coming. It's coming. And they're not playing. They are dead serious about how they're going to play this thing out. They want to make sure that they got a rock solid case. They want to make sure that. So these conversations that he's having with these individuals at these other institutions are leading to a lot of things that they would have not known. They get all the officers that are associated with the business too, how much money they're making, why they're doing it. And they're learning that he's got a lot of information on a lot of people and he's using it to blackmail them. He's running a real empire. They're going to get him, they're going to wrap him up like a Christmas gift on Christmas time with all of the RICO laws that they have in place. But he remembers something that she said about Curtis, that he can't be trusted and all of these different types of things. And Curtis is not instrumental to the money that he's making. The money he's making from Curtis through his minions is nothing. That's just penitentiary money. That's what you keep your shelf straight with. It ain't nothing serious. You feel what I'm saying? His money is being made on the streets and in the penitentiaries in a big, big way, way beyond what anybody can imagine. It happens like that. You feel me? And they're on the verge of breaking it up. But because he's, you know what I'm saying, this criminal-minded penitentiary type thing, situation going on with him, defining who he is, he thinks about, hold up, I got somebody around me that I was told by my gal that I can't trust. I can't trust. So he has some of his minions bump down on him and talk to him and try to figure out what's going on with him and figure out why they can't trust him and what's going on. And they're talking to Curtis, and Curtis is like, man, I'm good. I'm straight, man. I don't want nothing else. I'm straight. And then that's what he always says. And then they put something on the table. They try to feed it to him. He don't want it. They get a little bit more aggressive with it, try to force it on him. And in the process of doing that, they beat him up. They beat him up. And they force him to not just to snort the cocaine, but to eat it. And they just keep feeding it and feeding it to him until he gets sick. And while they're doing this, see, a lot of people get excited when they're doing stuff like that. They get to talking and all these different types of things, and they say, yeah, we heard you wasn't straight. You can't be trusted. Yeah, she told us. They didn't say her name, but that's what he said. They said to him. And he heard that. But he was halfway in and out of consciousness at that particular time, and they laid him down on his bed and left him in there. So when she walks over to the cell doing her cell checks and all this and that, she sees her cousin laying in the bed and she sees this white stuff all over his mouth, and then she walks in closer and it's not just white powder, it's white foam coming out of his mouth. He's throwing up, he's convulsing. So she hits the button on the walkie-talkie. She calls for a medical emergency. They rush in with the nurses and all this and that, and they wheel him out, taking him to the hospital. She's panicking. Big 50 comes out of the cell after everybody leaves, and he goes to the desk, and she says, what did you do? He said, that's what a rat gets. And she's like, what do you mean? And he looks at her and says, you the one told me that he couldn't be trusted. I took care of that. And she said, I didn't tell you to do that. I just told you to stay away from him. She said, when are you going to listen? And he said, I run this. I don't listen to you, you listen to me. And she sat there and she looked at him. And she knew she couldn't blow cover. She couldn't let him know that she was that concerned about her own cousin. And she looked at him and she said, you're right. You're right. He got what he deserved. He got what he deserved. All she could do now is hope and pray that he didn't die Hope and pray that it wasn't that serious. But at least they got him out of the pod. So after Big 50 left the desk, after about 30 minutes, she calls to the nurse's station and she asks, what's his situation? And she said that he was okay. They pumped his stomach, but they were going to have to keep him in the infirmary for a while, when he gets back from the hospital. And she told him, she said, I'll be down there to check on him when I get ready to leave, see how he's doing. The nurse thought that was unusual, but again, she was like, all right, that's cool. And she'd already been told to anything that she thought was unusual, report that to Big 50. So she gives Big 50 a call and tells him that, the officer says she's going to come by and check on him before she leaves. And now Big 50 is confused. And if he can't be trusted, why she care? It's something more to this puzzle. But he got blinders on. He got real feelings for her. See, listen to me, y'all. I want y'all to really fully grasp what I'm trying to say about this. Some people in here, they'll get so lost in their feelings, they create something that's not real. He believes that he can trust her because she played in her cootie cat for him. You feel me? He believes that he can trust her because she said it. Right? Now, yes, she's done some things. She's made a call or two, this, that, or a third. But she ain't did really nothing. But when you get so, listen to me, emotionally deprived, you want to believe that just the touch of another person can make you imagine something more than what it is. A kind word will make you imagine more than what it is. And don't get it wrong. You got a lot of people that work in the system that know that, and they'll use that to their advantage to get what they want. But you got a lot of people that's locked up in the system that don't work for the system that will hear that and they'll turn it into whatever it is they need in that moment. And Big 50, for all the bravado that he puts out, he needs somebody to validate him, somebody to fill that hole inside him. Yeah, this big bad gang member, big bag drug dealer, yeah, he's empty. So he's not paying attention to the signs. See. And people that work in law enforcement, they know that. They know that. They do these profiles on people that are locked up, people that commit crimes. They know all the triggers. They know the weak spots. They know how to push those buttons, and you're going to start to give them what they want. You sit there and say you want it if you want to. I'm going to give you an experiment real quick. Let your girl want something from you, or your guy want something from you, right? And watch and see, don't they do what they know you like them to do to get you to agree or say what it is that they need you to do or say. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. The next time she wears that pretty negligee, you know what I'm saying, that fixes you your favorite meal and sitting there, you know what I'm saying, and feeding it to you, why don't you tell the truth and let me know that you're going to do whatever it is she say she needs you to do. And vice versa for you women. Don't play no game. Don't play no game. Yeah. Let him go, you know what I'm saying, fix something for you, give you some money for your hair and nails, or go mow the yard, even empty the trash and all this and that, right? Because he needs something from you. He wants something from you. You gonna do it? You gonna do it. It is no difference, because in your situations, y'all situations out there, and you have a real emotional attachment, so you want to please the individual that you're with. But see, when you're dealing with situations where you got people that are broken, they'll create what they want that to be to satisfy them and their emotional needs. It's real. It's real. Now, I ain't got no PhD in psychology. You understand what I'm saying? But hey, I know how this thing goes. Been there, done that. Victim of it a couple of times myself. Don't get it twisted. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. I've had situations where, you know, somebody might say this and that or third, and then I read more into it than it is, and next thing you know, I do or say something silly, and then they put me in check, and I be like, oh, my bad. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna, you know, that type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, man, I got some. I'm going to tell y'all a story about back in the day. Not today, But I'm going to tell that another time, right? When I overplayed my hand. Oh, my God. I just came into the system. But anyway, let me get back to the story. So now, Big 50, he's wondering. He's wondering, what is going on? But like I said, he can't get past these blind spots that he got that's being clouded with what he started to feel for Cynthia. His instincts, his street instincts is telling him something's off, but this new Pandora's box that's been opened in his heart is telling him, don't worry about that. She's just trying to look out for you. And he buys it. He buys it. But she's not sure if he buys it or not. So her shift ends, and then she goes to the infirmary to check on Curtis. And when she's down there, she's talking to him, and Curtis says, I thought I could trust you. When they were feeding me this dope and forcing this cocaine down my throat, they said that she said you couldn't be trusted. The only she that I talked to other than my mama is you. And I know they ain't talked to my mama. And she looks at him and she says, cuz, I was trying to get them to leave you alone, back away. I didn't know they were going to do that. He said, you don't know how this stuff works in here. People in here don't play. And if you say something about another inmate can't be trusted, you just put a kill on my head. That's what you just did. You put a label on my back. Yeah. They're not going to play with me no more. She said, but don't worry about it. I'm going to see if I can get you to where you stay in here until this is over. And he said, until what is over? Tell me what's going on. Now, this nurse is within earshot. This nurse is within earshot. And she's listening from behind the curtain. Just sneaky. 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 Now, Cynthia knows this nurse is working for Big 50. So her police instincts come out. Yeah, her police instincts come out. So she says, because she knows this is going to get back to him, I'm going to ask 50 to marry me. And when he marries me, I'm going to put you under his protection so you'll be straight. See, she's doing this because she's not sure if 50 is buying all of this stuff yet. She's not sure. So she wants to make sure this message gets back to him that she's ready to give her heart and soul to him so he can really just be blindsided by what's about to happen to him. And sure enough, the nurse did. The nurse called and said, well, I didn't know you were getting married. And Big 50 tells her, to who? And she says, I just heard Officer Cynthia tell Curtis, the inmate Curtis, that she's going to ask you to put a ring on. And then once that happens, she's going to ask you to make sure this inmate is safe. Leave him alone. 50 smiling on the other end of the phone, but he said, why does she care about him? Why does she care about him? And the nurse says, I don't know, but she does. There's something there. So what Cynthia was trying to do is sort of backfired on her. Sort of backfired on her. So she goes home and she tells, Curtis's parents and all this in the family that he's okay, but she tells them what happened and she tells them the truth. But she don't tell them the truth about what she's doing, so they snap on her. And they tell her, you're there to protect him, not to get him hurt or killed. She takes that. But she did not want to not tell them what happened to him, and then they find out from her what happened, and then they be mad and thinking that she's holding something back. She has to protect her cover. And that's what she's doing at all costs. And she does. So she gets home and the phone rings. It's Big 50. He says, so you want me to put a ring on it? And she coyly says, well, how you know that? And he said, I got my sources. And she said, well, what you gonna do? He said, I don't know. I'll decide that. You know what I'm saying? If I ever want to do that. But why you care about this dude? He said, before I do anything, before I go any further with you, I need to know why you care about this dude. Do you know him? She was like, yes, I do. I know him. He's like, from where? Where do you know him? She got to be real careful about this, because if she says too much, she know he going to double check. She knows he's going to double check. But it's going to be hard for him to find out a lot of things that go way back. You know, a lot of these things predate the internet. So it's going to be hard for him to find out. All right? So she knows that Curtis has a sister. She knows that because she's related to him. So she tells Big 50, me and his sister grew up as best friends, which is true. It's true. But she conveniently left out the part that they're cousins too. Yeah, that's right. They're cousins. So he's like, why didn't you just tell me that? Why didn't you just tell me that you and her were best friends? That's cool. That's cool. He said, I tell you what, I ain't gonna feed him nothing else. And she said, really? Yeah, I ain't gonna feed him nothing else. And I'll make sure he's straight. But you gotta tell me everything. You can't be lying to me no more. She said, no more lies, baby. No more lies. Big 50 gets off the phone. He leans back in the bunk. He know he the big Willie now. He got it all. She wants to marry him. He done tested her to the limit. He done gave her this car. Everything's locked in. Everything is Gucci. Everything is good. Everything is good. So he thinks. So he thinks. So now, he orders his minions to go to Curtis's cell. The very next morning, Miss Cynthia is sitting at the desk. Now, Curtis is still in the infirmary. But they go to the cell, they got bags. And they go in there, they clean up his cell, they fill up his shelves, fill up his hygiene shelf. He's got everything that he'll need when he gets back. And he goes by and tells, he said, look, whenever he come back, he gonna be straight. Don't even worry about it. He under my protection now. And she looks at him, she smiles, she said, thank you. Thank you. But see, what he don't know, Curtis ain't coming back to the pod. Because they've already gone to the grand jury. And they got indictments. And they're ready to roll. They're just timing it out when they're gonna make the move, because they're gonna do it in one fell swoop. But they're coordinating with the commissioner and all the wards, because they're gonna have a whole lot of openings in their shifts, because they're gonna get everybody at one time. It's gonna be one of the biggest things that the state has ever seen. The feds are gonna clean house. The governor even knows what's about to happen. They're gonna pick up people on the streets. All of these police departments, all of these different agencies are gonna be coordinating and working together. They're gonna try to wipe him out. Interpol is gonna be involved. They're gonna be working overseas and try to take out the cartels that have been supplying it. Everybody's finna fall because Big 50. Yeah, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. And won't nobody see it coming. Nobody. So the nurse, she's back at the infirmary, and every day she's talking to Curtis. Every day. And Curtis, you know, he been locked up for a minute, so he shoot his shot. And she starts asking all these questions, because deep down she's feeling some kind of way, because, you know, here comes Cynthia along, and now Big 50 don't really pay that much attention to her. Yeah, he still gives her money that she need, but she was feeling some kind of way. She was feeling some kind of way. And Curtis, like most dudes, talk too much, said too much. And he says the one thing he was told not to say about Cynthia. He tells the nurse that Cynthia is his cousin. And she says, yo, what? And he says, my cousin. And if you want to know what else he says, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so